Landwalker, and today we are going to be spending a couple of hours enjoying the wonders of the Stanton star system in the game of Star Citizen. I've done a little bit of touching up on my theme, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, for the stream. I got tired of a completely blank and boring just the game view and slapped on a couple things. I'm still learning the streaming software. It's an ongoing process. I hope it's not too obtrusive or distracting. I don't think it is, but I'm sure somebody will let me know if it is. Knock on wood. Now, you may or may not be aware, Star Citizen is presently doing a free flight period. I think I should explain that a little bit better. So, we're going to hop over briefly to the Star Citizen web page, or the RSI site to be more accurately. Boy, that was a failure in English right there, wasn't there? We're kind of in the phase 2 period of what they're calling the Ship Showdown. Their latest one, apparently. They did this last year, I'm told, too, but that was before my time in this game. The first period of time, they basically requested viewers or players to make stuff with the ships that are in game, whether it was a video or a drawing or a model or a short story or what have you. I don't know. I wasn't paying that close attention. But the 16 best were going to be accessible as free flight. And for the ones that aren't normally in the pledge store, become available. And these are the ships. Well, this is the ship that's coming up today for the vote. More about that in a minute. Today it's a vote between the Hammerhead, which is a multiplayer gunship, or the Eclipse, which is a stealth bomber sort of thing that launches massive torpedoes. As you can tell, I voted for the Eclipse because you can get to the Hammerhead in the game under ordinary circumstances. Eclipse I'm not nearly as certain about. So I tend to vote for the ones that aren't usually available. Now that said, I'm not 100% sure the Hammerhead is as a standalone is usually available in the pledge store. And the reason I'm mentioning all these caveats right off the bat is because of the tournament. Basically, they're doing this as a bracket. As you can see, each day we have a pair that we vote on, and we've gone through a few already. The Carrack beat out the Reclaimer, the Caterpillar beat out the Prospector, and the Gladius beat out the Defender, which I'm only just now noticing. Darn, I voted for the Defender. No biggie. So far, I'm pretty sure I voted for exactly one winner so far. I'll let others speculate as to what that winner may have been. And also let's go through the list here, shall we? I've already gone to the first grouping. We also have the Hammerhead and Eclipse, like I said. Tomorrow will be the Cutlass Black versus the Constellation Andromeda. There are certain similarities in both of those ships, and I can see either one coming out on top on that one. Then we have the Avenger Titan and the Reliant Core, both of which are small, light ships with similar portfolios, so that should be an interesting choice. I'm kind of hoping the Reliant wins that one. Then you have the Prowler versus the Valkyrie, a pair of drop ships that are in the game, one of which is alien and one of which is not. And then finally, when you're going from lopsided sizes, you've got the massive 890 jump luxury capital ship versus the itty-bitty Misk Razor racing ship. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Now, once the first round is over, and I'm not 100% sure how accurate this information is, because I'm not sure if I'm reading anything right, but after the first week is done, all the ships that lost will no longer be available to pledge for, unless they're in the pledge store already, or they may not be available for the test fly anymore, or both. I'm not entirely sure which that is. I'm kind of just waiting to see for that sort of thing. Boy, sometimes I'm talking too fast for my lips to keep track of my brain. Now, since we are doing a free flight, I am more than happy to invite any viewers who happen to be on, which I acknowledge is not very many. I mean, my follower list isn't exactly huge. I'm not a big name. It happens. But the opportunity is certainly going to be permitted for folks who are interested to determine what ship I'm going to fly for the free flight. That way, people see stuff that maybe they've not had a chance to see. Or maybe they do. Not sure. Okay, I think we've done all the preliminaries here, so let's go back to the game. And log it in. Now, fun thing is, I'm not entirely sure where I'm landed right now. It's either Port Olisar or Everest Harbor. I'm kind of leaning forward to Everest, but I'm not 100% sure. I might even be at Grim Hex, which is the standard hive of scum and villainy in the Stanton system. Although, for being a hub of crime and all that, there are surprisingly few bounty missions. Not a whole lot of mercenary missions here either. Of course, I haven't really gone out of my way. Either way, I should be in the Crusader orbit, one way or the other. That's the big gas giant that you're seeing on the screen right now. Okay, let's see where we're at. I am in Grim Hex. Well, that's a surprise. Only a little surprise, but a bit of a surprise. Grim Hex recently had a bit of a remodel associated with it. Most of the station is pretty much as it was before, but they've changed the docking procedures dramatically. The landing pads that you used to go to are now more or less not accessible. Not from the inside at any rate. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't know this is a fact. It's perfectly possible that it is, I just haven't explored it enough. Yeah, you know what? Since I'm here, why don't I do that? We'll just do a fast look here. What has changed is when you go to the back end of the top level here, you see a racing deck area. Over to the right, right in front of me now, is the armor/weapons shop at Grim Hex. I don't need to go there right now. I've got more than enough weapons. Armor I'm happy with. Mostly happy with. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. And somewhere along the line, they're going to be doing space races around this area. There'll be a course of some kind. It was planned for the revamp here, but it didn't happen. I don't know what the holdup on it was, and I certainly haven't seen it on the roadmap anytime soon, so. But this is clearly a place they're going to do racing. It's clearly going to be a place where it may not be street legal, perhaps. Think the Fast and the Furious in space, maybe. Now that is an image. Also, and I hesitate to point this out because, you know, folks are maybe watching who are of the younger persuasion, but you can grab beer. You know, that Fast and the Furious comparison is just looking more and more likely every time I look around. I'm not sure what these terminals are going to be, but I would be almost willing to bet they'd be betting terminals. Can't prove it. Don't know. Doesn't matter that much to me. There are 3 levels in here, so you'll be able to view what's going on, theoretically speaking. Now, the lower level is the mid level, and as you can see over there, there's the upper level. I'm not spending too much time here because that takes away from the goal of the day, which is flying neat spaceships. It's a crazy thought, I know. So we are going to pop on down to the lobby level. Here we are. Let's all go to the lobby. Alright, over here we have our ship terminals, and that's where we're going to see a whole bunch of ships available. Incidentally, I suppose I should give an opportunity here. Let me go back here for a minute. The thing with the ship showdown, let's set back here briefly. If you want to get access to the free flight, you have to go to the free fly page on the website, and you have to follow the instructions, get everything installed if you're logged in. Use this free fly code, which will become available to you. See, log you in, enter the Showdown free fly code, download, and then you have access to the free flight ships. It really is that simple. Moving back. Let's see what kind of ship would be interesting to fly today. I took the Aegis Avenger Titan to get here. I just needed a fast ship to get me from Olisar to Hex. I'm pretty sure that was my rationale at the time. And as you can see, I've tried out a couple ships, like the Reclaimer. I did have one of the infamous bugs in the game, strike and strike hard. So one of the Reclaimers was no longer available and it duplicated. These things happen. I monkeyed around with a Caterpillar. I am not sure why I have the Caterpillar there. I'm going to do a claim on that so that it's here when I come back. The reason I'm using Grim Hex right now is because ships like the Reclaimer and the 890 Jump, they are huge, huge ships. And not all landing pads will be able to handle that kind of abuse. Worse yet, these huge, huge ships have a little trouble taking off from planetary gravity. There's a trick to them, but I haven't nailed them down yet. I haven't practiced enough, and I don't want to completely humiliate myself on live streams, so I decided to do the spawning at Grim Hex, where I at least have the advantage of low to no gravity to work with. So, why don't we start out with the Reliant Core? The Reliant Core is a pretty straightforward ship, and it's not one that I fly ordinarily. It's not one that's usually available for rental, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to add a little something to the display here so that people will be able to know what we're going to be flying at any given time. Hopefully that should suffice for keeping it real, I guess. Alright. Waiting for the elevator. Slowly, surely. Hope that I remember the hangar properly. If I didn't, I will know about it very soon. No, I got it right. Sometimes the specific one slips my mind. Now, the Reliant Core is an interesting ship. I say that about a lot of ships, I admit it. Opens from the back. See, it's got this horizontal look. We'll take a better look at it. We've got room for a decent amount of cargo. Looks like it can handle maybe 6 to 12 standard cargo units. I'm just eyeballing it here, guessing. I don't actually know how much it can handle. It's a 2-seater. One for the pilot, one for the co-pilot. So we are going to power on. Now, one thing that takes some getting used to is the fact that all the multifunctional displays are up top here, and so is the radar stuff. The radar it's challenging for me to understand at this size. You know what? I don't know if this has a living area. Let me see if this has a bed in here to log out in. I'm just kind of curious, and if I don't take care of it while I'm thinking about it. No, no beds, no bed logins. It's just all cargo here. I wasn't really sure. I kind of suspected, but I wasn't 100% sure. I'm good now. I'm pretty sure there is a variant that might have a bed, but I guess this is not one. I'm going to open up the communications to have them open the doors and let me out. Knock, knock.
You are free to launch.
Why, yes, I am free to launch. Takeoff is pretty straightforward, just nice and easy. But here's where it gets, well, let me get out of the hangar actually. For reasons that will become apparent momentarily. Once I'm clear, I'm going to raise the landing gear and watch this. Oh, that was the VTOL. Huh, that's interesting. I thought VTOL. There we go. I guess I was saying it right after all. If I raise the landing gear, I automatically take care of VTOL. And okay, I'm not entirely sure which is which here. I'm fiddling with the keys and. Well, in any event, as you may have guessed, we have that intriguing configuration where you're flying with your co-pilot below you. Now, the downside of doing this, though, is that you can't really get out of your seat at this point, unless you can, pop out of the cockpit, which I'm not entirely sure about. And you fight that way. Speaking of fighting, oh yeah, let's grab the CS2 one, because I'm pretty sure that this is not going to be able to handle those other contracts. I am also going to go for the Mercenary Call to Arms, which is always free money. Or potentially free money. And now that I've picked up those contracts, I'm going to... oh, and it's going to be right here, practically. I might even be too close to do a quantum travel. No, I think I could probably quantum there. But first... now, I've got to be more aware. Usually when you're flying a ship, you have to be aware of your left and right sides are. In this vessel, it's quite the opposite. You have to figure out where your top and bottom is, because that's where the length of your ship is. Let's check out the weapon groups. I'm I've got 4 missiles on board. Missiles are infrared hunters, size 2s. Weapons, I have a fair amount of weapons. I've got a cannon, and they're all looks like laser repeaters. Well, laser weapons. Some of them are repeaters, and some of them are a cannon. You know what? Ordinarily, I would join those groups together so I'd have full fire, but I'm thinking the cannon might be one that I want to leave as separate. If I had all repeaters on here, I would link them up. But the cannon's a slower shooter. So this ought to be exciting. Now, ordinarily in a light ship like this one, I would consider the prospect of decoupling, but I'm not quite there yet. I do have gimbals available. These aren't exactly what you call impressive repeaters. As always, I'm going after the primary target first, because if I kill the other guy too soon, then I don't get the extra money out of him. He's considered part of the mission. Once the target is done, the contract is done, and then that other guy, he's that free money. Oh, there we go. And now, the aforementioned free cash. It is taking some getting used to with the repeaters on the top and bottom of the ship as opposed to left and right. Now, you can fly, I'm pretty sure, with a horizontal configuration. But I imagine that flying this way would give player versus player combat fits. Let's see, how many yellow? I'm at yellow, so that means there might be some spots here worth stopping by and grabbing some cargo from. Hardcore mining is probably the only one that's really worth anything, because otherwise we have a research outpost and we have lots of aid shelters. And aid shelters almost always have nothing to sell. They're aid shelters. They're designed to, aid people. Of course, I've yet to see them with anything that would actually be of an aid. Win some, lose some. But I want to see how much cargo I can actually load in here, and the mining area is as good as any place to do that. Okay, I'm going to reset the destination so I can actually see the destination. We're moving at 165 meters a second, which is the standard combat maneuver speed. That's the top speed you can move without having a problem with maneuverability. You can go faster, but moving left to right can be a little more challenging. That said, for a light fighter, it's not as horrible as it is for a heavier ship. Okay, we're coming in pretty quick, so let's slow that down. And prep for landing. Now, with any luck, I won't do something stupid like crash. Yeah, I almost did that something stupid, didn't I? Not low enough to auto land. Almost. There we go. Hopefully it'll straighten me out. And down. Now, obviously, this cargo is not going to bring me riches and fame. I mean, come on. It's a light ship. It's a small ship. You can't expect miracles. But it's a decent supplement. I mean, if you're doing box running, for example, your last stop, grab some cargo, sell the cargo at a nearby destination. It's all good. Plus, you know, doing it this way means you're probably not going to wipe out your entire set of finances. Let's get this stuff off my visor. Okay. 6 SU, how about that? I managed to estimate it pretty good, didn't I? I thought 12 was possible. Astatine. High value stuff. At least if you buy them in quantity. Clearly, this is not quantity. Waiting. There we go. I have to tap the computer a few times. Now you'll notice my credit supply has gotten better. I'm around 600k right now, which sounds impressive, but the goal I'm working towards is to pick up in-game a MISC prospector. That would be purchase, not rent. That would give me the confidence in purchasing the mining heads that will allow me to actually make real profit with these things. That's the goal. It wouldn't surprise me if I pledged for it at some point, but that isn't the point right now. The point is, I'd like to be able to pull it off in the game. And trading is one of the best ways to do that if you don't have a mining vessel. It's just that trading has certain unexpected consequences. We've got a prospector who's coming in too. It's kind of interesting. And he's coming in hot here, so I better power up and get off the landing pad. Alright, let's kill the VTOL, change the thrust, change the direction. And I think we'll drop this off at Port Olisar. Now I'm going to be honest, this is the Reliant Core variant. There are a couple other variants of the Reliant, but I don't know how many of them are in game right now. And this one is the kind of bare bones one. How bare bones is it? Well, you could make a good case for calling it a starter ship. It's not, you know, it's a little bit better than the Aurora or the Mustang Alpha. I think it's the Alpha. But it's something. It's kind of closer to the Titan Avenger, which, as you may have noticed on my list of ships, ooh, something is happening. And it's a hostile. It is a Buccaneer. I can handle a Buccaneer. The challenge is not taking out, you know, any friendly targets. Oh, but the friendly target has already turned him into toast. And is that security or is that a player? It's hard to say. Oh no, he's not toast. I thought he was toast, but apparently he's not. Okay, free money! One of the challenges in the game sometimes is you really can't tell if a pilot is a player or if it's an AI pilot. Because they all have names, and sometimes the names are as crazy as the names in the game. Although, really, if you look at my chat, you can generally tell the kind of names that strike you as being, yeah, that's a player, alright. I've never seen one of these that have a player involved. And right up there, Sully Humphreys. You could believe that there's a Sully Humphreys playing the game. I find it unlikely, though, because Sully Humphreys, that is not a name I would imagine choosing. Even for the role players, I could not imagine that. Okay, we have other flyers around here. But I'm not reading anything on him, and comm stats are still up, so I'm assuming that I'm not going to have to worry about someone coming in and saying, hey, let's blow him up for giggles. Ha 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 ha.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
So I think that once we've landed, it'll be time to swap to another ship. We're going to be getting all kinds of things today. Oh, that's a brand new defender just swooping by. And apparently having trouble nailing down his landing area. And we're coming down to a fair landing. That'll be one of the neat things about flying around during these free flights. You get to see people flying all sorts of ships that you generally may not see often.
Have a pleasant stay.
And since it's a free flight for basically anybody, you tend to find a little bit more population. Yeah, Banner Defender just landed. Banner Defender is a pretty cool ship, and maybe we'll pull that out next. Once I sell that cargo, of course. Selling the cargo is important. Money counts, even if it's, you know, a couple thousand credits. Ah! I've stuck myself in the bloody elevator door. Oh, have I screwed this up? Or well, sooner or later, someone's going to walk through here, so I got time. I mean, surely that Banu Defender is going to have someone coming out of it. What would really be nice is if I could get myself into a position where I could trigger the door again. Oh, this is crazy. Maybe if I do an emote. Where's the next page? There we are. Come on, dance me out. Oh, for a second there I thought I might have it. Oh, there we go. Exit, exit, exit. Get me out. There we are. Whew. Thank you, random civilian. Random citizen. Whomever. I've been freed from the gruesome prison of that airlock door. Really, by all rights, if the game were really vicious, that should have bisected me. I'd be waking up an Olisar. Of course, since I'm here anyway, it wouldn't have been a big deal, but there's a principle involved. So my acetine, oh, I was overestimating myself. It's closer to a 1,000 credit profit. But what do you expect from a light vessel? We're looking at light freight. you tend to be looking more at box deliveries. And box deliveries have their complications. You may have noticed a stream about a month ago where I was having some real entertainment with picking up a box at Microtech. It went poorly. Okay, well, what would be interesting? I could fly the Hammerhead, but honestly, it doesn't do too much good if you don't have a crew to get on board and blow stuff up. Incidentally, anyone who happens to be watching, if there's a ship that you would like to see, go ahead and sing out. I am willing to go into anything on the list. I hate to do a Cutlass Black because that's available for rental at any time. I know. We'll grab the Asperia Prowler. The Prowler is marketed as a drop ship, but people have been apparently using it as a combat ship too, so I'm a little curious. C09. Oh, that's interesting. It's on a solo pad. I usually don't find myself on this kind of pad very often. Now, the Asperia Prowler is based on an alien vessel, and I'm not entirely, I can't recall which alien exactly it's involved with. I don't want to say it's the Banu. I don't think it's the Van Bool. And don't ask me what half these are because I don't know half these, half the names of half the species, much less the lore behind them. Oh, right. Prowler is up. Step 1, whenever you're messing with a completely unfamiliar ship, is trying to identify where to get in. And the back is looking like a leading contender. Now, there's an alien ship. It's very eerie. Let's see, where's the door close on here? Is there a switch? Surely there's something. Ah, maybe it's up here. There it is. I like the fact that they have the nice light there to tell you these things. Now, we have a whole bunch of seats which are designed for people to, well, this is a dropship, right? So it makes sense that your seatbelt is fastened. Oh, interesting. We don't have as many third-person views to work with in the seat here. Presumably that would help protect anyone from any little incidents once it's time to deploy. And you would deploy out of the door in front of you. Now up here, we have a couple other seats, I guess. Oh, right. Oh, how about that? So there's a way to go in besides the back end. Oh, how about that? And is there a seat one on the other side? Yes. Yes, there is. Can I access it? No, I cannot. Maybe it is only one side then. Oh, yeah, they've got more seats on the other side. Now, up front here is a co-pilot seat. So you're asking where might be the pilot seat? I'm glad you asked. Up this ladder. And boy, is that an alien-looking ladder or what? Alien geometries. Lovecraft would be proud. Now you'll notice that as I sit down in the seat here, that is not exactly what you would call a windshield, is it? Well, the answer to that is no, it's not, and yes, it is. Once I power on,
Systems activating.
oh, and it looks like I'm not the only Prowler pilot getting ready to kick off here. Let's take a look at the equipment manager and see what this puppy is loaded up with. They've got turrets for light strike cannons. I'm going to be honest, I have no idea what these are. Laser cannons. Okay, makes sense. And then we have deadbolt cannons. And these are ballistics. And they're all gimbaled. Well, one of them's a turret, which is effectively the next best thing to gimbal, and the others are gimbaled. So that'll be a win. Shield systems, 2 shield systems, and don't really care about any of the other details. Not for a free flight at any rate. So we are going to take a look at the contract manager and see if there's a bounty worth taking out. They're all CS3s. Well, fine. You know what? We will try a CS3 in the Prowler. Let's determine where he's at. Naturally, they're around yellow. Naturally, they're around yellow. I seem to be having trouble targeting. There we go. Setting my route. And let's take off. Let's make sure that I'm centered here. Oh, it takes off fast. It does have VTOL capability. Doesn't this have kind of an intimidating profile?
Thank you, and please visit again.
I don't know about you, but I'm intimidated. And I'm the one flying it. Maneuverability is not bad.
Quantum travel engaged.
Okay, now for one of the other neat details about flying alien ships. When you fly an alien ship, you're also flying alien components. When you're flying alien components, you have to expect some interesting effects. Of course, what I didn't expect was that the stage 1 of the quantum travel would take so long. Here we go, and oh, look at that. That is something else, isn't it? And if you think that quantum travel graphic is entertaining, you ought to see the Banu Defender, which will probably be on the list of ships to fly today as well. Just maybe. Just maybe.
Quantum travel complete.
Alright, gotta go to an orbital marker. I also see that there's someone flying nearby. I'm not particularly interested in causing
Quantum
harm.
travel engaged.
I may do occasional criminal activities, but I don't really consider myself a creeper. I leave players alone if they leave me alone.
Quantum travel complete.
In return, I don't bounty hunt them. I think it's equitable. There we go. There we go. I'm having a little trouble getting the quantum drive running on here, but it seems to be okay now.
Quantum travel engaged.
I can't really blame the ship for that, though. It's the game. Bugs happen. It's an alpha. You adapt. Or you do something else. Oh, I should have checked the,
Quantum travel complete. Contact.
Anyway, that's the target I want to take out first. Set my gimbals.
Attack.
Some
on
of my
front
weapons
shield.
are awfully quiet.
Weapons 2 hot. Attack on left shield.
Oh, is that guy spinning out of control? It looks like he's spinning out of control. I must have gotten a good lick on him somewhere along the line. The problem with cannons is that they're slow firing. Oh, he's up against the rock. That's an opportunity.
Weapons 2 hot. Target destroyed.
Yeah, the Banu Defender had this problem
On
too.
rear shield.
That the weapons would overheat very easily, very quickly.
Attack on front shield.
That alien fear voice gives me the creeps.
Target destroyed.
Still, the ship is handling the pounding pretty well against a group of, well, pirates, bandits, whatever, interceptors.
Shields fully charged.
One was a buccaneer, one's an interceptor. I wasn't really paying attention when I was looking at the second time. I'm assuming it was a buccaneer, but I can't prove it.
Target destroyed.
Oh, good, because I was just this close to whipping out a missile and seeing how alien missiles work. But since I'm now here and thinking about it, let me check my weapon groups and get them on the same page. There are no missiles on here. Oh, that simplifies life on that end. It's not a bad ship, not a bad ship. But it does seem kind of lightly armed for a drop ship. I mean, if I go on the Valkyrie, they've got heaps of turrets, including ones that'll deploy outside. I mean, let me just hop out here for a second. I'm not aimed at any asteroids, so I feel relatively safe in doing this. Feel free to laugh uproariously if I... What's this? Oh, I'm guessing these are weapons racks. Or maybe they're components. I'm not really sure what they are. That's the problem when you're on an alien ship. You open things up. Yeah, these look more like components than, what did it say? Locked. Yeah, these look like they're more components than lockers. Now, granted, components really mean absolutely nothing for now, because that gameplay does not yet exist. Let's hop downstairs a second. Now, in the Valkyrie, you could have doors open up, and they would also deploy a machine gun that you can send cover fire down. So when your people are jumping out of the dropship, you can cover them by unleashing nasty amounts of ammunition at the opponents. And I guess they could probably act as an extra weapon to shoot at other ships in a pinch. But you do not have that here. Oh, I guess these might, no, I guess these look like they could be these could be weapon racks, but they're not working out. Of course, they still might be. Let's see if I can. Okay, they are weapon racks. Awesome. So basically, you can sit in your seat, and if you don't have, if your mission commander wants to load up on specific weapons, he could have them all in the weapons rack, and you would grab the ones associated with your exit. Just grab, try to grab, and go. So that's pretty neat. I don't know if you would be grabbing... I'm not entirely sure how they would determine who grabs what. A mystery for another time. I'll leave that for, you know, FPS mission commanders. But this is the kind of thing that comes in handy for a lot of folks who put together their own operations with their organizations. They do team versus team play, which includes the use of these dropships. Between this and the Valkyrie, it's pretty neat.
Flare on.
Unfortunately, I'd be having a little trouble with my Moby Glass. There we go. I hope that's well. On one hand, I hope it's my mission and not me, but it could be me. Okay, unfortunately, it looks like the next one around here is a crime stat 4. Oh, why not? Worst that'll happen is I'll end up back in Olisar and have to grab a new ship. Oh no! Why would I want to fly a new ship during a free flight week during a stream? One day I really have to work on this sarcastic streak I carry around. Swing around. Okay. There we go. Let's see if I can take care of a crime stat 4 bounty. Which could be fairly lucrative because the goal here, as always, is to get the money from the bounty and then clean up and get more money.
Quantum travel engaged.
Although really the big priority is survive. But if nothing else, I do want to take out the bounty. Whoa, 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 oh, oh god, this is going to be horrible.
Quantum travel complete.
Down, down, down. Bullet dodged. Oh man. The last place you want to exit quantum travel is right by a huge asteroid. Oh, oh. Let's see, it looks like a Cutlass Black is going to be the primary target here. And he's on the other side of the asteroid, of course. Get those gimbals set. He's 9 kilometers away, so I'm pretty sure he's out of range of my weapons.
Contact. Contact.
And I'm going to be really careful in my approach. I can take a Cutlass, I'm pretty sure. I'm using cannons on here, which tend to do more damage as a general rule. But a lot depends on how many missiles are fired. Because missiles will wreck anybody's day. Case in point.
Weapons too hot. Attack on right shield.
That weapon's hot is really annoying. Oh, I'm getting more missile locks. That's not a good sign. This could end very poorly.
Weapons too hot.
Don't stop complaining. It's not like I'm overclocking the engines. Or weapons, for that matter.
Attack on front shield. Weapons too hot. Attack on rear shield.
Well, the good news is I'm hitting the Cutlass and I'm doing damage to the hull. That's the good news. bad news is he's still breathing. Not to mention I'm firing a lot of
Attack
shots.
on front shield. Attack on right shield.
And I'm getting some
Attack
lag
on
here
rear
too.
shield.
Frame drops, that sort of thing. And I'm still flying way too close to this huge asteroid.
Attack on front shield. Target destroyed.
Whoa! Oh, that was almost a gruesome display.
Attack on front shield.
I want to get that other cutlass because that other cutlass is dangerous. And of course, it has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that it will get me. Oops.
Shaft on.
It has nothing to do with the fact that it will get me more money as a bounty. I keep hitting the wrong key to deal with my counter measures.
Attack on front shield.
Hey, wait a second. Nuts, I must have been hitting the wrong guy. I didn't get paid. Well, that's really annoying. I blew up a cutlass that was going to be a high value target, and now I got no money for it. That makes me angry.
Weapons too hot.
Yeah, weapon's too hot, blah blah blah. It's not like I haven't heard that before.
Attack on front shield. Attack on rear shield.
There.
Target
Now the
destroyed.
bounty is down. And there's another cutlass black.
Attack on right shield.
Either there were more cutlass blacks going on, or I took out someone who was a
Right shield.
complete,
Attack on left shield.
I'm not going to say innocent bystander.
On right shield.
Maneuverability. Unfortunately, I really don't have any idea where my shields are at the moment. Because I keep flying in directions that I can't readily see my shield grayed out. Or my self status.
Target destroyed.
That status, though, I'm seeing pretty good. Oh, if I'm reading this right, my front shields are basically Swiss cheese. But the good news is that my remaining targets are not exactly what you would call potent.
Target destroyed. Alert. Overhead crash close.
Yeah, let's avoid those overhead crashes.
Target destroyed.
That was a close one. But on the bright side, I am intact, I have survived the fight, and for the most part, I'm pretty sure I've avoided doing anything horrible like slamming into asteroids. Let's take a look at my items and see what their health is. That gives me a general idea if I'm taking real damage or not. 90% on one of my cannons, I can live with that. 83 for another, I can live with that. Otherwise, all components are in reasonably good shape. One of my thrusters is minorly scratched. Ping is nothing, that's always like 0. And, oh, what was that? Oh, scratch for another thruster. All in all the thrusters look pretty much okay. I think we're good to maybe go for one more bounty mission on this vessel before we head back to Olisar and grab a hold of, maybe the Banu Defender. Because I did want to show that. Unfortunately, the only bounty left is North Rock, and they will usually send me out of the planetary system to a different planet, which is something I would like to avoid. What else we got here? Property retrieval. Nest, that's a patrol mission. I don't really want to do a patrol mission. Oh, you know what? You know what? We can do this. We can do this one. It's basically a box mission combo combat mission. And I'll just pick the new ship at the remote location. Unless the Banu Defender is already locked somewhere else, at which point we'll grab something else. I certainly have enough space in here to put a box, so Sometimes I do that. I spool up in the quantum drive. I get myself aimed and I accidentally hit the spool up button again, which shuts it off. You would think that by now I would be much better at that sort of thing. And of course you have the times when you know everything is ready to go and you hit the button and nothing is happening.
Quantum travel.
There we go. I suppose I could have checked out personal missions, but I'm not ready to go for things that'll give me criminal status. The whole point of today is trying out lots of ships, not
Quantum travel.
running through prison.
Complete. Contact.
There he is. An easy target. Mustang Delta. Basically the kind of target you can shoot at, watch him blow up. Of course, that's probably one of the reasons why the payout on this mission is not all that great. I'm going to go head on. Well, kind of head on, because I would like not to crash and get myself killed.
Target destroyed.
Okay, let's cut the speed down. Like, dramatically. Get a little closer. A little more, a little more, a little more, a little more. Alright.
Engines off.
Shut off the engines because I want to make sure that, no little accidents happen. The ship decides to keep moving while I don't. Head down the ladder. And, just because I can, more weapon racks. They are equipped here, aren't they? We are going to deploy out the side door. And then I'm going to try to go back in the same way. Maybe I'll go in the same way. It does occur to me that sometimes horrible things happen with packages if you fall down with them. Maybe I'll go through the door itself. It's usually safer with zero-G environment. Let's see, was it the side? I thought it was the side. Yes, it is. Because if I try going into the drop door, I'm likely to have something really unpleasant happen. I fall down on my face because I went in the wrong way or something. We will close the door now. No need to have that exposed to space. Package is there. My drop point is established. There's the elevator, the ladder. Problem is, it looks a lot like the door ladder. Don't want to grab the wrong ladder. Don't want to go outside.
Chaff on.
And now the goal is to go to Crew L1, or more specifically, the Ambitious Dream Station. And hopefully I won't see anything telling me that the way is blocked, because there are bugs that happen here.
Engines on.
Move my speed limiter. Okay, something weird is going on here, and I have a bad feeling. My ship is going nowhere. I'm seeing thrust. I'm seeing motion. But I'm not moving. Maybe if I go out of my seat and try it again.
chaff on.
There is something very weird going on here. And I'm beginning to have the horrible feel. Well, it's not a 30K. I know what 30Ks look like. This ain't one.
Engines off. Weapons off.
Let's turn everything off. Restart everything.
Systems activating. Systems on.
Well, this is what commonly referred to as a sticky wicket. It's like there's something on, the engines are on, nobody's home. Well, the inability to fly is certainly a down mark in my personal list of reasons why the ship would be good or not. I mean, this is telling me that I'm moving at 430 meters a second. I'm hitting afterburners. But I am going literally nowhere. And it's not like I'm stuck on anything. I'm here in black space. I am not stuck on anything. Oh, I wonder... No, it's not the free look. Well, this is interesting, isn't it? Yeah, sometimes the chat just gets so annoying I gotta turn it off. Oh, viewport off. That would be the what I'm seeing right now. Open exterior, power off. Empty strings. I have no idea. Maybe if I spool quantum drive. I just cannot adjust my ship at all.
Engines too hot.
Engine's too hot. I'm not moving. Well, boys and girls, you know what that means. We're about to take the fast way out. Yeah, this mission's pretty much done, but you know, sometimes sacrifices have to be made. Let's get a good view. Surely the self-destruct. There we go. If your ship don't work, break it. Good riddance. Boy, I tell you, the Prowler was having a pretty good rep in my opinion, and then it had to do that. Yeah, we are going to mark off points on the evaluation for that ship. So, let's take a look at the available vessels here today. Choices, 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 choices. I don't know. I don't know. I'm tempted to try the Caterpillar here today, and since I'm here at Grim Hex, but not at Port Olisar, my bad. But I don't think I'm going to be able to get enough materials to load into it unless it's, waste. And waste buys nothing. And the Banu Defender, sadly, is already at Everest Harbor. So clearly I'm going to have to go to Everest Harbor to do anything.
Join the ship share program today and fly together.
I could do the Eclipse. It's got a slow lock-on time for its weapons. Big surprises using huge torpedoes. You know what? Just because we are going to grab the Hammerhead. B00. Big surprise. It would help if I went in the right direction, wouldn't it? Now, obviously, I don't plan to do any fighting in this. It's a multiplayer gunship. There's just me. Clearly, I'm not going to be getting involved with firefights in here. But since I have to apparently be at Everest Harbor to get to the Banu Defender, and since I seem to have taken out most of the bounties in this area, at least the ones that are realistically available, I might as well head to Hurston in style. Step 1, locate my entrance, which is harder than it looks. In fact, I seem to have... Well, what the heck just happened there? Well, somebody seems to have had an accident since I'm seeing parts of ships flying around. Now, it shouldn't be hard to find the entrance. I mean, I've done it before. But I'm having some terrible luck here. Oh, is that the 890 jump flying backwards? I hope the 890 jump's not trying to find a landing pad, because I'm not sure Olisar has a landing pad capable of housing the 890. There we go. Not necessarily the elevator I want, but... Oh, out of the way, out of the way. I'm pretty sure there's a different way inside, but I don't remember it offhand. Then again, it's not like I've been aboard that many hammerheads. Okay. It is, as you can see, somewhat labyrinthine. I'm working my way to where I'm hoping is the bridge area. I thought that was the an elevator, but maybe not. Office space. So this is probably bedroom. Ah, here we go. Signage. I love it when ships have signage. See, now these are the elevators I was trying to get to. Moving up front. No, it seemed to, yeah, there we go. I knew there was something wonky about the Hammerhead Bridge, and the wonky part is you have to go back to go forward. Crazy sounding, I know, but there it is. here we are. One of these is the pilot seat. Looks like someone's got a Carica out there.
Aegis.
Okay, yeah, that's a Carrick. We've got Vanu Defender kind of poking around there. I'm seeing more activity at OLSR now than I've seen in a while. Takeoff. Raise landing gear. Laugh at puny, insignificant 890 jump. Haha. You just have all sorts of good food, wine, saunas, swimming pools, luxury suites. I just have guns. Which of these ships are better is really subjective. You know what? I wasn't going to do this, but I think I'm going to do it anyway. I am going to try to grab the package again. Of course, that would have been helped if I could, you know, set a course to the package. Really? Someone's locking on me?
Shield under fire. Head shield under fire.
Oh, it is a saber, so it's clearly something that can do it.
Under fire. Rear shield under fire. Port shield under fire. Shields up. Starboard shield under fire.
Oh, I hope you enjoy yourself, guy, because you have roughly 10 seconds before I'm out of here.
Shields up.
And I've put all my shields in the rear, so...
Rear shield under fire.
Oh, come on!
Under fire.
Now you see, I would have gotten away with this, but stupid,
Quantum travel initiated.
Bye! Okay, we'll equalize the shields now. Yes, he was certainly taking his best shot at my rear shields, but what he could not realize was that I sent all my power to my rear shields. I suppose I could have tried hardening the shields too, but...
Travel complete.
And just to make life entertaining, we're going to go to that orbital marker, just in case he has the idea of, you know, jumping after me. Seems unlikely, but you know, it's possible.
Quantum travel initiated.
Okay, that takes care of that. So we had our little annoyance try to do something violent to the hammerhead,
Complete.
and basically fail hard. So once again, that gives me time to try to nail down if I can get this property thing. I don't think I can. I guess it's not going to give me a quantum beacon or anything to the package anymore. So as far as I'm concerned, I gave it my best shot. It's off to Hurston. And more precisely, to Everest Harbor, where the Banu Defender is hiding. Hey, while we're making the quantum travel, wander around the ship, see what's inside. I mean, there's more to the ship than just, you know, lots of guns. You know, I could have sworn I spooled up the quantum drive. Oh. 10 to 1, that's not the problem. Problem is I'm aiming towards the wrong target. That was putting me in the direction of that package. And I really don't want to try covering that distance with the hammerhead and its blinding speed.
Quantum travel initiated.
All right. So we've got the co-pilot's chair there. We'll do a little wander or walk through here until we get to first thing. Up elevator. I guess I have to manually open the door. There we go. Now up front here, I thought it was up front. No, this is up front. Up front here, I believe we have an airlock. Maybe. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what this is supposed to be. I don't necessarily, I'm pretty sure it's a docking kind of thing because, well, it looks like it. It's got the double lock here. That's what screams airlock. But maybe it's, you have to go up. I don't want to monkey with it too hard while I'm in quantum travel because if I end up out of the ship will keep going. I won't. Over here we have one of the many turrets, and there's one on the opposite side as well. On either side here, we've got 2 glass doors. We'll take a walk down here. You see the windows. These are the elevators that I would take in and out. There's one on the opposite side too. Going further down here. Over here, we have the captain's quarters. It's a lot easier to see when you have daylight out. You've got the desk. You've got your bedroom. You also have a bath, but I'm hesitant to go inside because I could have sworn that the last time I did it, I ended up sucked out into the black hole of space somehow. Now, maybe it got fixed and maybe it didn't, or maybe I'm thinking a different ship. I don't really know. Okay, opposite of the captain's room is another turret. So, more shooting. You have access to an upper deck here. This really does feel like it ought to be an elevator here, doesn't it? I'm just having trouble finding what buttons to push. There we go. Wait behind this line until your turn. Oh, that's something that no player is going to ever watch. Oh, that was hilarious. Now, I gotta confess, I'm not sure I've ever been to the upper deck. Unless it has, as I suspect. No, I'm not entirely sure I have. No, I have. I'm pretty sure I've seen this stuff before. Yeah, the crew mess hall. Out the other door here. I guess this is where they put supplies, if they ever put supplies in. Or if you're doing box deliveries, you can come back here and put them on the racks. If you're doing a box delivery in a hammerhead, you've done something horribly wrong somewhere. That said, I was almost ready to do a box delivery in a hammerhead, so I really don't have much room to talk. Back here, I believe, is engine room access. Yeah, there's an engineering section. And I believe there's either an elevator or a ladder here. I'm not actually going to go up there. Let's run around out here. Oh, I guess that's it. So I would like to think that there is one on the opposite side. I would like to think that. No, the opposite side just basically has escape pods. Looks like it's probably another turret. We've been to the bridge. Let's go to that cargo engine room area. Oh, more crew stuff. This is their bunks. And presumably back here is the facilities. Shower stalls, presumably a toilet. Presumably a toilet. Surely they have toilets in these things. Otherwise, I would have to admire their powerful bladder control. Ah, here we go. It's on this side. Not to mention their bowel control. Ugh. Let's not go there. Engine room. Which is where I came in with the cargo elevator. Because that's, well, cargo elevator. And you come up here, and, ooh, it's another turret. They are very big on turret use on the Hammerhead. Which isn't a big surprise, it's a gunship. Okay, let me hop over here and see. We're almost there, relatively speaking. I was going to say more turrets, but this doesn't look like a turret. This looks like another engineer station. So they have a lower engineer and an upper engineer section. I don't think you can open these yet. Components. And I guess that's pretty much all there is to the Hammerhead. It's not exactly what we would call a highly complicated design. Hardest part is finding the way in. But it's a nicely designed ship, and I'm hoping to, in the near future, like hopefully sometime tonight, with some buddies of mine, the hope is that I will, going through the wrong door here, the hope is that we're going to run into a Hammerhead, fly into a mission, and have some people manning guns and go to town. I fully expect to be a person on the turrets, not pilot. But you never know. Strange things happen. Everybody in the free flight right now has access to a Hammerhead. Alternatively, if you're really psychotic, you can take the Hammerhead for its purest purpose: ramming. I'm pretty sure that would not end well for anybody. That other guy who was shooting at me was flying a Saber. Usually a pretty good starship, but it really wasn't doing too much to me. Which is a little bit surprising because, well, I wasn't really doing anything except reinforcing the back shield. Yeah, all components are at 100%. From the looks of it, I don't think he even scratched the paint. So there he went, just shooting away, shooting away. But darned if the back shielding was more than up to the challenge. And this was stock equipment. I wonder if that Saber was still using stock equipment. The world will never know. Okay, less than 1,000,000 kilometers out. And it looks like we're going to be having a pop on an orbital marker before we get to the space station. And here we are.
Quantum travel complete.
Now sometimes when you get in and out of seats, sometimes the radar display bugs. And I'm also aiming towards the wrong waypoint. I really should have cleared that mission out. Okay, this is a problem because my next destination It's currently being blocked by, oh, I don't know, the surface of the planet. Okay. That just complicated life. So I need to find a better place to get to. I really don't feel like going through the atmosphere of Kirsten if I can avoid it. And I really, really want to avoid it. No, that's not an orbital marker. And those aren't orbital markers either. Well, it looks like my choices are few and far between. If I want to get to Everest, I'm going to have to be unconventional. And that means, unfortunately, dipping into atmosphere. And I'll try to ignore the fact that, thanks to its massive size, this is about as graceful as a rock. Not to be confused with the ROC rock, which you can now grab on the RSI store, unless it went away. It's possible it went away. I honestly have to say I didn't look because I had no interest. Hopefully I'm not too far into the atmosphere.
Quantum travel complete.
Let's pull it up. Excellent, I'm high enough that I should not have to worry. And I still can't get to Everest. How insane is that? Okay, no more Mr. Nice Guy. Edmund, that's practically right underneath. I tell you, do your best to go to a space station. You would think that the computers of the navigational systems would be able to handle stuff like this. But you... that would be too easy. So we are going to do it the other way. Of course, we're going to be on night side, but that's okay. It's not like I plan on making a landing. And here comes... yeah, I'm not sure what it is these days about some of these orbital quantum jumps and spinning. I feel like little Anakin Skywalker is in charge of flying the Hammerhead.
Complete.
As you might guess, that is not a compliment. Okay, now will you let me chart a course? Thank you. It's too far, too far. And that's a pretty respectable stopping time for the tilt, even though the velocity is still not quite aimed right. Alright, making the jump. That was significantly more effort than I thought it was going to be.
Complete.
Let's kick up our speed a bit. I really don't want to be...
Danger. Engines overheating.
Okay, there's only so fast I want to be able to go with this thing. I mean, I could accelerate further, but I'd also have to brake harder. And... well, that probably would not end well for anybody. Thanks to the size of the hammerhead, I should be looking for a hangar dock as opposed to hitting a landing pad. R&R stations or the orbital ports. The landing pads are just not large enough to handle hammerheads. And luckily I'm not flying anything like an 890 jump or something, or a reclaimer, which would really have problems because it wouldn't fit at all. Do seem to have a number of ships in port right now. Constellation, that's one of the free flight ships. I'm presuming it's an Andromeda. I can't prove it. Scanning is a little challenging these days too. Oh, speaking of 890 jumps. And nobody's aboard it. Interesting. I'm getting a lot of hostile contacts. Usually these days, if they're hanging around a station that close, it usually means that there's a minor problem with people claiming
Please
vessels,
proceed to assigned landing ground.
leaving them there. Still, I'm real surprised about the 890. The 890 I would have figured would be red 2 in that circumstance. But what do I know? Put more speed on it and cut it down. I'm going to kill my cruise control at this point because I'm going to want a little more personal control. Okay. That's a problem that hopefully they'll take care of sometime whenever they do the next set of patches. Fixing this, how long they keep those hangar doors open, because that is not polite.
That request has already been granted.
Rude. Thank you. And I see those turrets are lighting somebody up, so maybe the 890 just went hostile.
Proximity alert. Deck.
Now, I'm not 100% sure about the height on the ship, but I seem to be okay.
Proximity alert. Head. Proximity alert.
Drop the landing gear down.
Proximity alert. Head. Landing gear deployed.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me! Seriously? You know, this is the sort of thing that encourages people in Hammerheads to start opening fire on space stations. I mean, for crying out loud, there was no way a ship this size is getting in in the time you had that door fully open. Last chance. Then I started ramming.
That request has already been granted.
I mean, heaven knows, I can get away with ramming the station. I'll just spawn inside now that I've opened up communications and all. Sheesh. just as well that I'm doing the Banu Defender next.
Proximity alert. Head. Proximity alert. Port.
Let me guess,
Proximity
freaking
alert.
door started
Head.
closing again.
Proximity alert. Starboard. Proximity alert. Head. Landing complete.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
That did not work anywhere near the way I'd expected it to, but you know what? As they say in the business, any landing you can walk away from. I mean, sheesh. Come on, guys. And this is a problem in Loreville, too. Doors open up, and then they close almost right away. That's just insane. Okay, let's go out the proper exit as opposed to the cargo exit. And there we go. And there should be one on the other side too. Yep, right there. But that's it for the Hammerhead. And I would not feel right, after having gone through all of this, if I continued without running that Banu Defender. Of course, the downside of parking at Everest is that their vehicle retrieval terminals are 3 kilometers away from landing pads. Off to the lobby. Let's take a look at distance, shall we? 100 meters? $400, $500, $600, $800, $900, 1 kilometer. Still going. Still going. Oh, this one looks like it's close. Well, of course, I was in a hangar, not on the landing pad. So only 1.5 kilometers in just maybe 30 seconds. So have a little respect for the elevators next time, playing about how long they take. They're covering a huge amount of distance in almost no time at all. Okay, let's prep up. It's been retrieved, but we're still waiting for it to actually, spawn in. I'll probably get the big red X, which will be lying to its teeth. Yep. Back. Use. Look. Pad 3. Now we'll go about 3 kilometers. And back. Yep. 2.914. While we're here and while we're taking the long ride, let's look at Hurston bounties. I am unimpressed, but we do have a CS3 bounty, so we're going to take it in a light fighter. This is not something I generally do because light fighters tend to be tissue paper. But the Banu Defender is something special. A lot depends on the ships that spawn in, of course. But it's not impossible. Oh, right! I forgot that the Banu Defender, last time I used it, was a complete wreck. Let's hope that I can do the repairs in the seat. Banu Defender is another one of those alien ships, and it can actually be piloted on the left or the right. So, you know, good for righties and lefties. Or if you want to think of it a different way, suitable for Americans or Europeans. Okay, step one. Let's see if I got repair options. I do. Let's hope they work. Because as you can see, I kind of broke the ship pretty badly last time I was flying it. As far as it occurs to me that I went through doing all this. And it's not refueling, which means this thing is still busted. Well, that's disappointing. Not that, not that. This. All I want is a repair job. Can you give me that? Alright, looks like it can't even give me that.
Complete. Alert. Front crash close.
So we're going to have to basically say goodbye to it. Still, I wouldn't want to go without at least giving an opportunity to check out the way it quantum travels, because I did hype that earlier. Oh, for God's sake. I'm spinning and I can't stop. Okay. This was not what I wanted to do, but I'm backed into a corner. I have no choice. It was already dead. My apologies, I could not get this Banu Defender to cooperate. It took a little bit of damage last time I was flying it around. And I'm all the way back at Olus. No, I'm on Everest. I'm on Everest. That's the problem with easy halves. They all look alike from the interior. Let's see if I can get downstairs and see how long it takes to claim a new one. Alright. Excuse me. Let's take a quick jog through Everest. Watch that heart rate monitor rise. Puff, 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 puff. Banu Defender, checking, destroy! Shock. 15-minute claim time. I'm still waiting. There we go. 3 minutes for expediting. Yeah, I'm not really sure I want to wait that long. We'll claim the Prowler while we're at it. No sense in leaving that in a destroyed state. So, why don't we close things out with the Andromeda? Of course, I couldn't help but notice that it has moved me away from the side there. Oh, for heaven's sake. Oh, I know it's on a pad. And it's a round number, so it's not 1 or 4, so it's got to be 2 or 3. Historically speaking, I'm gambling on 3. Hit the elevator button repeated times in a time-honored manner. I don't really recall if the Constellation has pilot-controlled guns. If it does, we will try to take out the opposition, in spite of my better judgment. I couldn't help but notice that the distance to the Andromeda is not decreasing. Therefore, it feels logical to assume that yes, we are going to pad 2 after all. And it's going to be a little bit of a trip. Well, it was a nice theory. Had a 50-50 chance of guessing right. 3 felt like a logical assumption. That seems to be where most of my landing pad activity ends up. I can't remember the last time I was on pad 2. Of course, the real humiliation comes in if it doesn't actually sit on pad 2. But I feel my logic is still sound. There we go. Constellation is a large ship, although it's on the small side of large. It's a nice ship. I like the design, but its handling is a little suspect. Plus, apparently has a number of shield holes that are serious problems. And a minor host of other problems. I suspect they're going to be reworked at some point because the Constellation Taurus is still in concept, and given that most of the stuff is pretty much already done, I would think it would not have been hard to have released it by now, unless they were planning on another major rework.
Welcome to Space Industries. Enjoy the ride. System check.
Alright, let's find my target. On the moon of Ita.
Take off. Land again.
Well, the fact that I can set gimbals on here tells me that yes, pilot guns are available. I love the number of multifunctional displays on this ship.
Auto drive is now on.
I'll tell you what I find really exciting though. What I find really exciting is that number of missiles. That is a lot of missiles. How many of them I can actually use, I don't actually know. But what it does tell me is, if I can use them, I'm gonna use them.
Quantum drive is now off.
I mean, hey, it's a rental ship. Why not take advantage of what rental ships offer? Plus, there will be a certain level of satisfaction in taking out my frustrations on opposing starships. Especially the frustrations of having, you know, the quantum travel stuff not cooperating. Fortunately, calibration is pretty decent on the Andromeda.
Quantum drive is now off.
Alright. One more jump and we'll be in the weeds with all the asteroids, the large amount of enemy pilots.
Quantum drive is now off.
And I fully expect to have my hind end waxed here. But I don't care.
Is now off.
I don't care. No, missile lock-on is not working, so we're gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way, which is unload with lots and lots of guns.
Rear shields, yes. Shields, max. Port shields, damage. Enemy down.
I seem to have missed one. You know, this went awfully fast. The missiles aren't working. Missile locks are having issues, I guess. I've had trouble with them on... Oh, yeah, look at that. I've got a whole heap of damage all of a sudden on this ship. Like I said, maneuverability, that is not the strong point of the Andromeda. The Andromeda is listed as a gunship, so theoretically speaking, the strong point in the Andromeda would be someone going into turrets and helping out. All things considered, I didn't have too much trouble clearing that mission out, did I? I'm going to take the last step of going to Lorville and Hurston and see if I can do a repair job there. Hopefully, Lorville will have better luck with repairing things than the Everest Harbor Station did. I mean, oh man, talk about horrible maneuvering. Landing this is gonna be interesting. Now it's worth noting that the cargo bay in the Constellation theoretically is large enough to handle an Ursa rover. It's a tight fit. It can be done. But I think that people are better off if they put in smaller vehicles like the Cyclones or the various hover bikes. Man, I hope I don't screw up the landing on this thing. I mean, let's take a look at it from the exterior here. It doesn't look too horrible. I've seen worse. So it must be on components that I can't really get a good look at, like thrusters. Let's hope those aren't the bottom thrusters. All right. We are going on to Lorville Nightside. And, what was all that green? I hope those weren't indicating, you know, stuff burning or exploding. Mostly exploding. landing in Lorville is a little more entertaining than it used to be because of the flight model and the landing splines. And I'm hoping very much that I can maneuver all right in a large ship. On the bright side, it's not a huge ship like, say, Reclaimer 890 jump, which means taking off again is possible. Even for, you know, lucky amateurs like me. Looks like we have another Andromeda that's been abandoned. Here we go. I'm not happy with the untarget selections. Alt-T. And I would like to be able to clear the selection, you know, with something else. I should probably rebind the key for that at some point. Okay, Lorville is in range for communications. Let's say hello.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
Assigned landing bay is a little more to the right than I'd have preferred. Especially since this thing steers like, well, let's just say something large and unwieldy, and leave it at that. In a moment, I'm going to kill the cruise control. So I can have a little bit more personal control over direction, velocity, speed. Yeah, that's working out well. And best of all, I can kill the velocity entirely when I get to the end of the landing splines, so I can attempt to identify where my landing pad is. Okay, the landing pad is generally in that direction, and I am almost right over it. Oh, that's going to make it interesting, isn't it? And even more impressively, the doors are still open to the hangar. That was not something I expected. Fortunately, I don't think I'm leveled out. And when I'm not leveled out, I have a hard time seeing where the bottom is. Okay, we'll drop a bit. Oh, thank heavens for a minute there. I thought it was these doors. Yes, actually it is these doors that are closing. See what I mean about the Lorville area? Hurston, Everest? They just cannot keep their flipping doors. And now what? Weren't they closing a second ago? Oh, they are closed. It's just that the blue was on top of it. There we go. Can I tell you, sometimes they make it really, really hard for an independent sort of pilot to land their ship. I'm going to have no trouble with my front end here, aren't I? There we go. Lower the landing gear.
Landing gear deployed.
And hopefully I'll be able to get the repairs done. although I'm not sure why.
Landing complete. Pleasant stay.
I mean, it's a rental effectively, and why would I want to repair something and spend money on this? But you know, I did get that CS3 bounty taken out. And repair facilities seem to be working here.
Engines are off. Weapons system is off.
Alright. I see we are past the 3 o'clock Eastern hour. And that is usually the indicator of time to head on out. I hope the viewers here have enjoyed watching this stream. If you happen to catch it on YouTube, I hope you enjoy it there. I usually archive everything I do on the streams on YouTube because YouTube will actually keep my streams there longer than Twitch does. That's one of the hazards of just being a lucky amateur. But I hope you enjoyed the free flight week. I'm sorry we didn't get to do the Banu Defender like I'd hoped to, but maybe we'll be lucky and it'll still be flyable next week. If not, we will certainly be seeing what made it through the first round and see what ships to fly during that week's adventure. As always, I will be streaming again on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern to 10 o'clock Eastern. That's 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern and 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern. With a stream of Star Trek Online. And I will be returning here again next Saturday at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern to 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Closing times are, as usual, subject to whenever it's a convenient convenient time to stop, which may not necessarily be exactly at 3. Sometimes, like today, it goes a little over. Sometimes it goes a lot over. In the meantime, I want to thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching this stream. This is Korath Landwalker, signing off.